A dead civilization, an ancient temple, whispering through stone and sand, and one bright-eyed ensign who looks at a glowing orb and thinks, what's the worst that can happen? Today's Strange New Worlds takes the soft light of nostalgia and literally bends it until it's a little wrong. Through the lens of time, what you see isn't always what you get, and sometimes what looks back sees you first. What's up, my know-it-alls? Okay, let's talk about this new episode. This is probably the first episode in a long time that has felt very much like a classic Star Trek episode, for me anyway. A TOS episode, if you will. Yoda, what are you doing in my shot? Get my shot. It's one of those times where I feel like I feel like they were really trying to emulate, I want to say better episodes, but other, like, there's time travel, there's traps, there's not time travel, there's time stuff, there's time shenanigans, whatever. But of course we open with the whole Corby, Spock, La'an, Chapel of it all, which I guess I could live without. I don't necessarily know that I needed to have all of them in there, but again, I'm fine with it. It doesn't matter. This did feel the most like Spock I think I've seen in a very long time, in terms of just his behavior and the way he's behaving, the way he's acting and portraying himself. It could be him trying to cut himself off very coldly from all the stuff he's had to go through, or it could very much just be his own way of perceiving the situation. But it always seems like he's a little awkward around Chapel.
Why are we always so quiet when we need to talk?
Is there something to discuss?
Then you get to the idea of Gamble. I loved Gamble. I feel so bad for him. Gamble was a fun character. The moment the episode started with him doing his log, I was like, oh God, he's not long for this world, is he?
Junior Medical Officer's logs reporting from the USS Enterprise. Enterprise. I will never get tired of saying that.
Sure enough, spoilers, he wasn't. The idea that they get to go on this expedition and they sort of hand wave the tech, very Star Trek, and the ships and the deflector thing, boom, it reveals this temple. The species who they're working with, I found interesting because, I don't know, I feel like all Star Trek figures, if we want to go really alien, make it a blue species. And it was, it's a blue species. And I appreciated the nuance of those characters and how they're shown, as well as going deeper into the quote-unquote science or metaphysical science nature of Corby's whole mission. This idea that he's looking for ancient technology that, they definitely are seeding what will eventually be Corby's final destination, for those of you who are TOS fans and follow that, all that. I'm really looking forward to talking to Salty about this on the show, on Nerd Fights, because I feel like he's going to have a better take on this than I do in terms of what the original series did in terms of seeding things, City on the Edge of Forever, what those are made of, those kinds of things, that darker side, or what I like to call the horror aspects of Star Trek. And ultimately, when you see the characters start to problem solve, it feels, again, very Star Trek. So La'an's down there. The people have never joined the Federation, so they're not letting a whole away team go down. Eventually they end up going into the thing, and it's funny because Corby's got this knife out. He's about to just cut his hand open, and Chapel's like, let's do something less rash.
Whoa, hold on. Just take a moment before we choose the dramatic option.
Only to stick her own hand under the thing and give it a sample? And I'm like, how is that less rash? Whatever. But then they go into the room, which clearly is just an excuse to... this was essentially a bottle episode. Most of the episode takes place on the standing set, which is the sick bay, or at least a sick bay and a hallway. But then it also takes place on what I can only assume is some form of volume, which we know they have, because that's what makes engineering look so big, is because they use a volume wall for that. So I'm assuming that the moving around room parts were either green screen or a volume of some sort. I didn't mind it. It was very alien the way they were portraying it. I liked the podium setup. And then ultimately, when they're trying to figure some things out, I thought it was interesting they brought Ortegas's brother along for the ride. and then how he worked into the whole plot of the thing. Because later on, he sends his MacGuffin bot, his little robot thing that hovers, into the next chamber, only to see something over there, and then eventually everyone's like, well, what's going on? Where are we at? And they all go in with him after dude for one of the locals gets vaporized. Why? Remember Chapel doing a little blood thing? Yeah, apparently that was told the building she's the one allowed in, and everybody has to go with her. So the dude tried to run because he found out what this thing was. This is a form of prison. At least that's what they're speculating. They're speculating that it's a kind of prison for alien creatures, because apparently the studies that they were doing into quantum destabilization, thus creating immortality, because if you can live in a quantum state, you're essentially going to be immortal. At least that's the theory they're putting forth. Because Trek, it felt to me like, again, it's that's what I liked about TOS. TOS, when I finally got a chance to see it years later, after, because I've been introduced to TNG first, when I started watching TOS, I loved the fact that they took the fantastic and made it scientific. They said, what are gods? Well, gods are higher order aliens. They're like Q or Trelane or whatever. So in this instance, okay, these people are trying to gain immortality. Well, what's the other thing they're going to do? Destabilize themselves. Now, a lot of the MacGuffininess of that explanation bordered on TNG-style technobabble, which they have kind of been falling into a lot this season, and it didn't bother me, but I found myself going, what now? And so ultimately, what happens is the one guy vaporizes. Obviously, the robot has seen what looks like a spire thing that is glowing in the next room, but the next room isn't a room. There's a door, and the door is dark on the inside. So they figure out, well, maybe Chapel's the one who gave the sample. She's the one who can go through the room, so we all got to go together. They all go together, and they all get separated.
Look at it. Roger, this... They're gone.
It's Chapel and La'an. It's Uhura and Ortegas, Beto. And then it's... then it's Corby and Spock. And they're all in the same place, out of phase. And while they're out of phase, it's funny. This really gave me video game vibes. It gave me vibes like I was like an adventure game, or like the old Myst games where you have to do a certain thing. And they had already found in the people's pack this other thing. Sidebar: they found a plate of some sort, a little ring of some sort, and Gamble picks up this gold ball thing and looks in it. His eyes are completely vaporized out of his head by this electrical charge. And then he's taken up to the ship. We're going to park that right there. So then you deal with the rest of them, and they're now separated. They think. Communicators still work, which makes sense, because Beto's able to still look and see the video feed from his little hover drone. And that's when he makes a discovery. The drone is still there. And he sees everyone in the same room. So they come to the conclusion, they find on the panel a thing, and they say, okay, let's put this thing here, put the ring there, and they're all together. Well, before that happened, Spock had taken a look. He grabbed the aliens, the ones who he'd found that were dead. He grabbed one of their little visor thingies and managed to look down into the well. The well, this middle center thing, there's all these little glowing ball things, like the one that hurt, what's-his-face? Gamble. They conjecture that while opening doors through time and quantum whatever, the species must have let something in. And it's these things. Pause. Follow Gamble up to the ship. Up in the ship, you find out that Gamble has this whole situation where he's talking, but the doctor has determined his brain is dead. So something else is in the driver's seat. And that's this whole emotional roller coaster that happens. All right, a lot of things going on. Again, there's a whole lot happening in terms of they juggle a lot of parts. And what I loved was this felt supremely like Star Trek. And by that I mean a lot of moving parts all coming together. And you know for a fact it's going to get wrapped up by the end of the episode. And sure enough, it did. And it ends in such a great way because this thing that's got Gamble calls what's her face, Pelia, a lanthanite child. So it's clearly old, like she's over 1,000 years old. It's clearly an ancient thing, and it's got her scared and worried this is one of those times where it's funny, I start to think to myself, what would the original series have done with the Borg? Would have been, like, seriously, how would they have handled it? Because this is essentially that kind of scenario where they have now encountered something ancient, and they now know a warning of some kind. That's the way the episode ends. The episode's very well acted. Everybody's doing a good job. The character distinctions are very good. Obviously, Gamble's now gone, which is sad because I really liked him. The relationship, I think, is going stronger with in terms of Spock and Chapel breaking up. Again, I don't care too much about that storyline, and a lot of folks on TikTok especially were like, but I love it! And that's fine. I respect that you love it. I'm not going to tell you not to love it. I probably could still live without it, regardless. Your mileage may vary. There you go. Now you know. And if you don't have the battle, you have to be know-it-all yourself. What is an all-index score for this? Through the looking glass. I'm kidding. Through the lens of time. I, honestly, it was a better episode than last week. Much better, in fact. I liked everything they were doing, more or less. For me, it was definitely the culture stuff and the alien stuff and discovering and all those things. I'd love it if they would finally just leave Starfleet space officially, but they're not going on their full-blown 5-year mission just yet. But yeah, comment below. Let me know what you thought. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well to always be notified when there's new episodes. But still, what is my score? I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10.
If any of those things ever escape that well down there, God help us all.
All right, guys, what did you think of the episode? Am I wrong? Am I right? Did you care? Are you coming along for the ride? Are you looking forward to the rumors we've been hearing about Star Trek Year 1? Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that, sure. Don't forget also to tag along tonight on the Nerd Fight Show, where we talk about all of this and more. If you're watching Saturday, don't forget, last night we talked about it. So no matter what, you can check it out on the Nerd Fights channel, Salty Plus, here on the Know It All Network here, and then we'll go from there. So, all right, guys. I'll talk to you again real soon. Never forget, everyone loves to know it all.